Welcome to the Feel Better, Be Better show. Today, Kait and Nevada will answer your questions and introduce new topics designed to help feel better and be better. These are raw conversations, but they will make a difference.
All right, guys, we had a great show today. Let's see here. We got into real nail-biter stuff. We had, controversial topics?
Nope.
Okay. I'm getting
Nix
blocked.
those.
I'm getting blocked?
Getting blocked.
Okay. DMs?
All the DMs.
All the DMs. Yeah. So we had that one. Actually, no. We got into, coaching for a little while. We got into a little bit of training program stuff.
We talked a lot about sports psychology and knowing your players and developing player plans with your players. So that was really interesting. That's something that, both of us have talked a lot about and really care about.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then we got into, slipping into some DMs.
Sliding into the DMs.
Oh, we're sliding?
Yeah. That's the term.
I easily slip.
Whatever. Oh, no.
Right.
You're not doing it right.
Well, shocker. It's like my entire life. All right. Enjoy the show. Have a good one. All right. So let's see here. We got another show. Apparently, I saw we had, a view. Was that you?
We had a couple views.
Would you watch it, multiple times?
I didn't watch it at all.
No? Okay. All right.
I watched it before I put it up.
Apparently, people have a lot of time on their hands.
I know.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's see here.
We're becoming popular.
3 people watched us. So amazing. No. Let's see here. Wild week. Had a lot of things going on. You got anything in particular you want to start off with, or?
Well, yeah, I kind of actually have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
So, because I like podcasts, but I don't have time to really filter through podcasts, and you listen to a lot of podcasts, and you just send them my way, which is really convenient. I really like it.
Yes. Literally, I'm like, oh, you might like this one.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because it's always a week, none of them. And I know I'm listening to probably 15 a day or something like that. And then all of a sudden it'll be one day it'll be this one, then this one, then this one, then that one.
Yeah. And I'm a little backed up right now as far as my list goes to try to get through. But it's really nice to have someone conveniently filter through stuff and be like, yeah, this is a good one for you. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I was listening to one of Bhrett McCabe's. Love him. Yeah. If you have not listened to him, he's fantastic for sports psychology.
Secrets to Winning.
Oh my gosh, he's so good. I got his book. Yeah. It was really good. Just love him all around. But you sent me one of Bhrett McCabe's one where he was talking at a event. He was giving a speech and stuff there. And there was one part of it that I know we've talked about a little bit, but I just wanted to get your opinion on. Which he just barely touched on it. I really wish he would have gone more into it. But he was talking about having a coaching plan for each player, which we've talked about, just so that way they know what you expect of them and you know what you've told them and expected them to work on and help them developmentally throughout their time on the team with you and the type of players you're looking for, which I think is great. But he mentioned the 5 different types of players that he felt like they fell in different categories, and he just briefly mentioned it and then just went on and didn't come back and say the things to do to kind of help coach those type of players and stuff. But I was like, oh my God, I feel like that rings so much more true than I wouldn't have been able to articulate it. I think we as coaches see that and just naturally kind of do that a little bit. But I just want to get your thoughts and opinions on it.
Well, I think it's funny you picked that part out because I think that was about the time I'm I'm sending this over to Kait. Because I was just as we were doing, I'm we've spent a lot of time where we'll start, obviously as coaches, we're looking at everybody, we're going through everybody, but we start literally game planning on making sure we're on the same page on certain people.
Yes.
Because there's just some kids, players, adults that, you kind of got to be on the same side on. If you're not, then it's going to just create problems.
Yeah, because it sucks if, I'm trying to coach them in, one way. For example, if I'm trying to amp them up and you're trying to do something else, and then it's just conflicting messages, it's confusing for them.
Yeah, or even better, we had the one day where you literally had a kid where you were trying to, get them with their bat down, and, the next time I come in, I'm trying to get their bat up. And it's oh, okay, well, we didn't have a chance to talk about that one, but it just, whatever. Same example, but I'm thinking more along the lines, too. We also have things where we know we have to clash. Mm-hmm. We've had certain players that have had issues with my gruffness. Because I'm not very good about hearing excuses on the ball field. I totally think things will happen. Things won't go right. That's the entire point of it. And that's kind of really tough for younger kids in particular.
Yeah.
And I know it, but I think that's one of the things that me and you do well on coaching is that you know that that's kind of my role almost. It's like, no, I'm there to basically give it to you the way it is and be kind of a little bit tough and gruff. And then you can come back in and help kind of ease them along. But sometimes it's like, no, here's where I'm going to stand on this person.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had a couple players like that where it's like, no, I'm going to continue to be pretty hard. You can be supportive.
Yeah. And I think of certain in particular, there's some of them that they need to hear it, whether they're not good or practiced at hearing it yet. Down the road, it's helped them a ton. Mm-hmm. But having someone with that other voice in there has helped them learn that it's still okay and like your type of communication is helping them too. Mm-hmm. But then there's other players that it just really doesn't resonate with to the point that it's like, I've done all I can. You take them for a little bit, but then years once they've matured, it's been fine.
Yep.
So.
Well, I mean, we've had players too. I mean, Anna's a prime example that didn't necessarily do all that great under you, but thrived under me, and I wasn't necessarily real gruff with her.
No.
But I was very straight with her,
mm-hmm.
and that one really resonated with that kid.
Yeah, because for me, it was very much like...
Yeah, you were trying to cheer her along.
Cheer her, and then when it didn't work, she'd piss me off to the point it was like, okay, I'm going to have to make you run all freaking practice because you're driving me up a wall.
Yeah.
And you're not listening, and you're not being productive, and you're not helping the team. I couldn't get the middle ground that she could, like, fall in line with. But yeah, she listens to you really well.
Well, because me, it was real easy. I just am like, I'm not going to... you're either going to come do this or I'm not going to put any effort in.
Mm-hmm.
And
she hated that.
And it just drove her crazy because she had everybody in her life basically had tried to like cater to her because she's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of natural talent. But I'm just like, if you're not going to work, what's the point?
Yeah.
And that one almost got her a little drive under her. And I mean, it worked out. But I mean, other than that, though, I also didn't act like it was a problem for me. So I still gave her a hard time, and she loved that. Mm-hmm. And I connected with her because I wasn't like just mad at her for not trying. I'm just kind of like, okay, you're the girl that doesn't try. And it's funny, she didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, what cracks me up too is where I first kind of saw it was the first year that you started helping out, and we started hitting after practices. And she's like, "Oh, can I hit with you guys?" It's like, "No, you don't work hard in practice." Not like rudely. It's just like, "No, if you're not going to work in practice, you can't work with us after." And her just like, "Did you just really say that to me?" Like, and just the hurt.
Yeah, that was me that said that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, if you work in practice, I'll let you work afterwards. And she was just like, it was almost like devastation.
Yeah.
And her mom was right there, and her mom was just like, wow. And was like, let's see how this goes. And then it worked out well.
And now her mom says, yeah, you coach my daughter while I coach other people on the team because she listens to you.
That's literally.
She'll be the first to admit it.
Yeah. Real bad on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Bhrett, though, and that thing that he had. I mean, so we kind of do that off to the side. But I thought one of the things that was so awesome, and it's funny you picked that out, because I think he had a couple of them in that one little show that he had. But that one in particular, I was just like, oh, that's perfect. And really kind of spelling it out and really kind of talking forward in the beginning and going over with the player of like, hey, look, I think we need to work on this. I think we need to do this. And hearing them back and forth, which is kind of one of the things that I talked with Gabby about, where my coaching style, and I'm saying this for about anybody, because we kind of get this mode as coaches and as parents that it's like, okay, hold the bat here, hold the glove here, arm like this, here, swing, whatever, you're doing, and that's how you do it, and the kids feel that. Mm-hmm. But as a coach, we also talk about how everybody's swing, everybody's throw, everybody's kick, I don't care, pick whatever thing you want to do, is a little different. Everybody just has different body mechanics, different strengths, different weaknesses. Yep. And the kids know that. And it's different. So whenever I get in a situation like with Gabby's brother, with Gabby herself, when I saw something that I thought they could work on, I asked them. Mm-hmm. I literally asked them. I'm like, would you like, I'm seeing this. Would you like me to maybe give you something that might help with that? And you could just see them go like, yeah. And it's a weird thing when you think about it as a coach, because you're there, you almost have this feeling that you're supposed to have the magic answer. Whatever you say is just going to fix everything. Well, it's not. I hate to break it to you, it's not. One thing might work for one kid, one thing might work for another. You just kind of got it. Sometimes you're just throwing darts against the board. But when you ask them, it's no longer like, I know what I'm doing here. It's more of like, hey, let's try this. And that's a whole different concept. If you can get them to buy in with what you're doing, you can. Now, the funny story about that is, and we can go back to Anna, I've asked her before and she said no. and you got to be able to accept that. When you ask the question, you got to be able to accept that. And that's why it comes back from that whole thing when I told her, like, no, you can't work. Because you basically both of you are creating your own boundaries. And I know, I mean, just in some of the mental stuff, which we're going to get to at some point in time, that's one of the biggest things in life in general, is that we're not very good at setting our boundaries. And we're not very good sometimes about asking that question. We're really good at assuming things. Same thing when you're coaching. It's an interpersonal relationship. That's what you got to do. So that's just kind of a coaching thing that I kind of taught, and I kind of see, I think Gabby's going to actually catch on to it pretty good. I've seen you do it a little bit too, because I know you've seen it successfully, even though we never talked about it. Mm-hmm. But I know you've seen where I've probably done that to you sometimes. Like, I think when we're playing or something, you've actually got the point now where you just ask me. But I mean, before I can be like, hey, do you want any help on this or whatever? And you're like, yeah. And it's just, mm-hmm. It's a whole different attitude.
Yeah.
But one of the things with Bhrett stuff, though, I do think you got to be at a certain age level. Like, I think we only have a few kids on our oldest team right now that would really do well under that.
Sure, because I really like the fact coming into 14s being like, okay, what is your goal? Like, what do you want to do? Like, one of our players, I asked her, where do you want to play? You know, because I think that's important to know, not necessarily cater to where your players want to play, because it's a team and you have to build the strongest team. But she told me catcher and shortstop. And so if I know that, I can give her like, well, if you really want to play that position, you're not there right now. You need to try to work on X, X, and X to get there. Mm-hmm. And if I keep track of that, because his biggest thing is if you're a coach and you give that to them and they come back and they've worked their butt off, because they will if it's something they want to achieve and you're helping them with that. And then they've done all those things and then you're like, oh, well, here's some other things to work on, and you don't keep track of the things you've given them, then you've lost all of your rapport with them and their ability to trust you.
Well, I think that's one of the things that probably went very much overlooked and they didn't dive into it on when Bhrett McCabe mm-hmm. talked about it, was that's almost more of a check on the coaching side. Because we as coaches, we really fall into that thing really easy of like, oh, Tim plays second base, you know, and that's what he does. Or, you know, Ashley plays catcher, you know. Well, that, I mean, and you get this whole thing of like, well, I really need you to do this. Well, then they actually do it. But yet you still have that in your mind that they can't do it. Mm-hmm. So if you are writing it down of this is what we need to work on and this is what I need to see, and you put it somewhere, that allows you to come back and basically have something that you see. And then we've talked about this on Miracle Morning, how much just those kind of cues can be so huge.
Well, even if you look at yourself, I mean, if you see yourself every day or you're with your team and you're seeing them practice every day, you don't notice the huge changes that are necessarily made. But if you have a note like, hey, she's struggling with her throws from catcher to second base or whatever, and then you give her some homework, like, if you really want to play this position, you need to go work on your throws, X amount of throws a night or whatever you're giving them. And then you reassess, like, middle end of season, and those are better. Like, you can visually see that now. Whereas if you're not keeping track of that, you might not notice it.
No, because it's always so subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, you very rarely see the changes immediately. It's always such a slow build.
Yeah. So I just really love that as a concept, and having your player kind of, like, buy in and help facilitate their growth. Mm-hmm. Have part of it. Be part of it. I really like that in general.
I thought it was that's why I hate to say that was probably one of the. It was a good show all the way around, but when he got to that point, it was like, ooh, really love this.
Well, and I really liked how he broke down the different styles of players of how they like respond to stuff. So we had the 5 groups. So we had the players that are like amp up players, worry players, methodical, live and let go, and then what was the last one? Bubble players, like they have to be in their own little bubble and like be able to ignore everything around them. And I thought that was really interesting because like I feel like naturally you kind of work out how to communicate with your players if you're a good coach, because there's like certain players I know like, hey, if I go out there and I like try to amp them up, that's going to work with them. But if this player over here is not, like Reagan, for example, she's very much like a live and let go, like, man, it didn't work, I'm good. Like if it's, I'm going to put in the work and it's going to work when it's going to work.
See, you say that, but I always saw her more as a worry.
Really? Well, either way, she's not the type that if I come up and try to amp her up, like, that's not going to work for her.
Nope.
So you kind of have to know the style of your player. If you've got a pitcher who very much has to, like, focus in on our catcher and, like, tune everything out, you've got to be able to work with that to help her work through whatever struggle she's going with versus, like, trying to talk about mechanics or maybe, like, the mechanical part of it or whatever, you know? I feel like you kind of have to know your player.
No, it's key. It's huge.
Yeah, so when he said that, I was like, that's something I've never articulated, and I think as a coach, we kind of just, like, troubleshoot until we figure out what kind of player that person is and what works for him, just naturally, but I was like, I felt like, I just, like, really resonated. I liked it a lot.
No, that was a really good show. Sorry, I thought I had something else on, I know I had something else on Brett's stuff, but I can't think of it now.
Sorry, I distracted you.
You got me. got all in my head, and I can't remember what I was talking about now. So, man.
It'll come back.
Yeah, probably come back in a fury, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Whatever. It's amazing. Well, I had one for you, but I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, it's kind of right along the lines of the coaching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to talk about, so we had an older gentleman that we're friends with
mm-hmm.
that finally kind of came around to, like, going, you know, kind of seeing us being more, I mean, I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore, but yet I still kind of move around pretty good. I mean, and us working on our stuff and being not super intense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get to a point where we can't all do, hour and a half workouts of nothing but just lifting like crazy, and, to be able to be sweating bullets the whole time and like,
crazy cardio.
Yeah, whatever, just plyometrics. I can probably do like 2 minutes and I'm done. But anyway, he kind of got a glimpse of that and kind of almost said, like, hey, my lower back has been really bad. I know he's been to, chiropractors and masseuses, doctors, and all that stuff, and he hasn't been able to really find the relief he was looking for. But I talked to him a little bit about it, and he was just like, the things he explained were definitely muscular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was definitely a muscular situation. He didn't have like a slip disc or something like that. It was obviously he needed to kind of activate his core a little bit better and get that kind of stuff. So I kind of gave it to you, like, hey, can you put a program together for him? Keep in mind, he was an office worker for 35 years and hasn't hardly done anything. And you're like, doesn't he play golf? And I'm like, yeah, he tries. And then,
Greg.
But anyway, we all try to play golf. There's only a few people that can. But anyhow, and so you kind of put something together, and I kind of helped a little bit with it too. And we gave it to him, and it was hilarious because, I mean, he looks like he's feeling a lot better. I mean, it's only been a couple days.
I mean, I told you after, like, a couple days, like, day 3, I'm like, no, he's, like, spry coming in here. He looks like he's moving a lot better.
Oh, yeah. And I've asked him, and he's like, he's just like, no, it's great. He's like, I feel so much looser and everything. And we didn't give him,
it takes him, like 5-10 minutes in the morning, and it's literally 4 exercises that are just do as many as you can to the best of your ability, and it'll, like, increase your range of motion.
No, I limited him at the beginning. I'm like, I just want you to do 5.
Oh, yeah. That's right, you did.
Because I'm just like, I don't want you going too hard. And we got to reactivate everything here. And I mean, and then I think, and that was like for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks after that, I limited him to 10, which most people should be able to do 15 to 20 of what we gave him. So I'm just like, no, you're not going to feel it here. The actual form and all of that stuff is way more important.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to hear because I thought that was pretty interesting. Because, I mean, he really took to it real fast.
He did. I was really surprised, and it's, like, easy to be like, no, I mean, I just don't feel like that's going to do a whole lot or, whatever. But no, I mean, he seemed to see improvements pretty immediately, which is really awesome. And I hope he sticks with it. I think he'll stick with it. Because, I mean, I could tell a difference when he walks in and how he moves and stuff like that, and it's only been a week.
Well, yeah, he looks like he can actually move.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known him for 10 years, and he hasn't been able to hardly move.
And he seems in a better mood overall, too.
Well,
like, you could just see it.
Well, you know how it is when you get bogged down like that. I mean, you're almost in constant pain. Who's in a good mood when they're in constant pain?
No one.
I mean, and then everything's wrong. I mean, then you start, eating food that makes you feel better, which is always the comfort food, which always doesn't digest well. Now, the next thing you know, that bogs you down. So, what do? You grab some other ice cream that's going to, do better. And it's just a vicious cycle that you get into. And so, I mean, I just want to make sure we go into the fact that it doesn't take a lot.
No, it does not. I mean, especially what's great is, like, some of the exercises that we've got from, Mind Pump, different places. A lot of it is mobility and core, but it's not like you said, it's not so intense you can't do it. Like, anybody can do them, and you could do your own range of motion in the amount that you can do, but any little bit helps. It's crazy, because even the mobility stuff, I mean, there are certain areas that I'm not as flexible as others, and I'm more flexible than you are, but, like, even you notice... Sorry, I didn't mean to tell... Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to tell the secret to everybody. But, I mean, you notice huge jumps in your mobility just from doing a couple weeks of those sessions.
Oh, yeah, huge.
And, I mean, you're in shape, and you're still active in all that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm in a shape, yes.
Stop.
No,
not even that bad. You make it sound like you're, like, decrepit, and it's not even close to that.
I think my favorite is when I'm, like, got, like, this huge meal, and people are like, oh, my Lord. And I'm like, do you think I got this big by not eating, like, everything in sight? And then you see people go, like, did he just say that? And I'm like, I'm fine with who I am.
And then everybody goes, you're really not even big.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
For the food you eat, you should be really big.
Really hard for me to get those jeans on sometimes.
Sure. Did you have to buy them like 5 sizes too big?
I do, because they don't. Guys' jeans, they make them for people with no ass. I'm sorry. I don't know. If you run and you lift,
well, that's because everybody who goes and works out, they just do the upper body for guys. Yeah, you don't need butt and legs.
Yeah, that's true. Nice little,
they don't make stuff for those guys.
Nice little stick legs.
Little chicken legs.
Little chicken legs. It's so good.
I love making fun of those guys at the gym that can't put their arms down because they're so freaking huge, but their legs are like toothpicks. They're just so disproportional. It does not look good. Irritates me.
Just dying laughing. Those are like the same guys that always have like 6 jars and their meals all portioned out and everything.
And their 3 scoops of protein powder in their shaker bottle. Because more protein always does better.
Well, especially in powdered form with a drink or whatever, because that's definitely going to be the way it's going to go. Sorry, as we're talking about that, again, that's another huge thing that we never talk about. It's always like, oh, I'm low on vitamin D, I'm going to take a vitamin D pill. It's like the body doesn't exactly absorb it the right way like that.
Mm-hmm. How about you go get some sun for 10 minutes a day? Go take a walk.
It's kind of bright. I mean, I could get my sunglasses, all that stuff that you shouldn't do.
No, you're not supposed to wear sunglasses, remember? That's what you told me.
You're right.
People are controversial.
Especially on the vitamin D
Let
stuff.
the sun get on your eyes.
Hey, I've been told my entire life, because of the fact of, like, where the cataracts are in one of my eye, that if I develop one, that I'm kind of going to lose that eye. Because, I mean, it's like they're right on, like, the pupil side or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they told me forever, like, to wear glasses all the time. But I can't remember which guy it was. I want to say it was Peter Attia, but I could be wrong on that one. Doesn't sound right. It sounds more like Huberman. I think it was Huberman. I can't remember. But anyway, the big thing is that they were saying that the light directly on the eyes for 10 minutes a day, specifically in the morning, would be best. Mm-hmm. Is just, they can't match anything. It's just like huge on you. Yeah, they're not saying that you should be out in the sun with no sunglasses on, no UV protection for a long, long time. But they're like, no, just give me 10 minutes. And they saw huge jumps in all the vitamin D and all the things in your circadian rhythms and all that stuff that basically sets our whole body in motion.
Well, what's crazy with that, too, is, like, I think about the times when I was a kid growing up, I never wore sunglasses outside. No. I never needed them. And I would run around all the time. I would play sports without them, softball, all those things, and never thought to put them on or worried about it. But now as an adult, like, I can't hardly even go outside even when it's, like, gray skies, and I feel like I'm blinded. Now that we've been doing walks for 10 minutes outside and trying to wear them a little less, like, I can do it a lot better, but it's just like my eyes can't even take it. It feels like,
yeah, no, it's like, oh, it's blinding me.
I know, it's like I can't even look at anything.
Well, I've been wearing sunglasses since I was like 14 years old because they told me that. I mean, so yeah, that's a huge thing for me to be able to switch that off.
Yeah,
huge. So such a mess. You got any other groundbreaking questions you want to go over today? That's a no.
No. I mean, that's one of 2 podcasts. Another one is a little more controversial, so I'm not really ready to tackle that topic on this type of show.
This show's so much about controversy.
I know. Let's go to all the political things of the world.
Sure. That sounds like a great time.
That sounds like awful time.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. It'd be like the first time I can get blocked by people.
Oh, no. Well, how about you just talk and I'll just go, interesting.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's super awkward. Like, don't bring that up. Yeah, gotcha. I know that's what you would do to me. So just do that to me. It's ridiculous. Gosh. All right, we're gonna cook. We're doing our meal with the roast. We got Michelle's roast.
Yeah.
We're totally gonna. You got the thing sitting in that Redmond salt, right? It's like marinating like all the natural salt stuff or whatever that they have, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. With some other seasonings, but yeah.
Yeah. What's the first time we're trying
the fancy salt.
I know, it's fancy. Well, is it really fancy?
I mean, it's supposed to be pretty high quality stuff.
Well, yeah, it's just never been exposed to any of the chemical stuff that we did to the planet or whatever. Or something.
Yeah, it's in Utah underneath clay. So it hasn't been exposed. Apparently, that's a big deal.
Sounds yummy.
It's a big deal. The clay's really good to put on your face, too. I've actually used that one for like a mask, and you can feel it pulling crap out of your skin. It's like a tingly sensation. It's crazy.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
You don't want to do a clay mask with me later?
I don't know what I would do. I mean,
do a little spa day?
His face is so pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I mean, you'd be so pretty, we'd have to, like, put a filter to make you not as pretty on here so people wouldn't just, like, keep trying to DM you all the time. Slide into your DM, as the kids like to say.
It's exactly what would happen. Wouldn't even know what to do with myself.
You'd be getting all these messages like, hey, you want to meet up later?
Sure. We better end this real fast because it's going to go south in a hurry. So, I thank you guys for listening. We'll be back with some more ridiculousness next time.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Kait and Nevada hope you've enjoyed this show and found it useful and empowering. If you have any questions or comments, please contact them at Kinetics.com. That's KNETICX.com. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And please write a review of the show. Kait and Nevada appreciate hearing the feedback, and they welcome your reviews, and your word of mouth will help others learn how to feel better and be better.